we're going to try to follow up on that male leopard we had this morning that we followed for the majority of the morning. I'm not sure if he's still going to be there, but the wind's howling, there's lightning, there's clouds. It's a good afternoon to try to follow leopard. It's very good weather for leopards to try and make kills in. So quite possible he might have moved, which would make it quite difficult to find him again, but we will try. Otherwise, if he is in the same area, he's probably going to head out hunting quite shortly. So welcome on drive, and hopefully we can find that leopard. Let's keep quite a close lookout from me, because he wasn't far from these clearings where we left him this morning. If you show the sky to the right there, Andrew, you can have a look. It's quite dark and foreboding.
Start and end your day on safari.
It should have been right around here somewhere. Just check for vehicle tracks here. I think it could be a bit higher or a bit lower. We're looking, there's a tambuti tree and a large scotia, which is a weeping bourbon, and not to worry because he has come out and he's walked down this road. Very, very on top of the tractor who's on top of me. Let me just turn around. Tracks of that male leopard have come out onto that track that runs on the western edge of quarantine clearings. Afternoon mobile stations. So he's already moved. So keep your eyes open, Andrew. Those tracks look fresh. Oh. Not seeing any tracks here. If we don't get any tracks through this section, we'll go check access road. So while Andrew and I are tracking here, we're going to cross over to Mark so he can say good afternoon to everyone. And hopefully the rain stays away and we find some leopards. Oh, lightning all around us.
We have an electrifying afternoon here at Kunyuma this afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome to our part of the world here in the Sabi Sands. A rather incredible thing that's happening. And some of the things are telling me about it this morning. Termites and ants. Yesterday it was tortoises. And we need to go a little bit further back to be able to see. There's been a very strong wind coming in from the north and a storm blowing out in the south with this massive thunderstorm in the northwest, and we have been delayed. We got the edge of this thunderstorm that went to the northwest, but it might actually turn around and come back again. Cyclical. My name is Mark and Brian is on camera. That leopard man's at it again. So what Brian is showing you now is the bulk of the storm that's just moved over us. One of the reasons why we were delayed a little bit, it's moved off to the northeast. But there is, or maybe it wasn't that one, maybe because there's a third one. Let's say that's number one, and if we pan a little bit to the south, because that's in the northeast, and as we pan south from Gowrie Dam, if I can ask Brian to do that, please. We've got almost in front of us another storm. Might have been that one, almost like they joined. You can see there's a little bit of a gap, and then there's another storm. There's thunder raging around us. We might be able to catch some wonderful lightning shots. Look at that beautiful sky. It's almost like a painting. That's a break between storms, and then just due south of us, straight down the Milwaukee River, is another cell of pretty dark cloud and a column of water coming out of it. Wonderful to have these rains. They're very isolated thunder showers, and so they're going to be patches of bushveld that are going to get a little bit of a sprinkling, and that's going to be very exciting because in the next few days we're going to be able to visit some of these areas that got a sprinkling, and I'll be able to show you what happens when it looks all dry and then you get a sprinkling of water and how the grasses open up their leaves and the wilting of the plants on the ground tend to disappear, and suddenly they're upright and they're enjoying life again. Buffalo here at the dam, they don't seem too perturbed. And I think every one of us, Mom told us we had to get out of the swimming pool when there was lightning, but I guess these buffaloes, that didn't happen. So surrounded by storms, we're setting out on an afternoon drive. Do join us. Sounds like Brent is looking for his cat cousin. He is a Leo, of course, so it's no surprise that the cats are drawn to him. Brent Leo Smith. Hello. Hello, old man buffalo. What do you say about the weather this year? Oh, he flew. There's a lorry drinking. I'm going to get wet, I suppose. Not very much to the east, or rather to the west, the southwest. Not very much happening on the western side of things, but it's mostly this coalition of storms that's building up in the east. Listen to that thunder. Do you need help there, Brent? Okay, is he heading east-northeast? Okay, I'm going to go around from the other side of the lodge. Fancy skies. Brothers here somewhere. This is kind of exciting, very exciting actually. As you can see, there's lightning, there's thunder. It's not really bothering these buffalo very much, but very, very often we get asked the question, what happens when storms come? What do animals do when the weather changes? What happens when there's lightning and thunder, and how does it affect the animals? Well, we're starting with buffalo. We've got some pretty heavy storms brewing around us with a lot of lightning and thunder, and he's more concerned with me being there's something else that's troubling him that's got nothing to do with me, because he stopped and looked down there. But the other buffalo, something else troubling him, not the storm, but the other buffalo, all the others that are around the dam. Because at the moment the storm seems to be moving away. Oh, that's what he is. He's looking at another big buffalo. Line them up. No, stop, Mr. B. Line them up. Look, there's old Seesaw, that one at the bottom. He looks like that old buffalo Seesaw that we had, but I didn't think it was because there were two uneven horns. One horn was higher than the other. And I'm sure somebody can find a picture from a few years ago of the old buffalo we called Seesaw. But he kind of looked like that. I think a lot of animals will be hiding, a lot of animals will be finding shelter, getting into drainage lines, or not necessarily drainage lines, but we have these very thick worry thickets. Sometimes we find very thick monkey orange thickets, or brown leaf teak. Areas where the elephants have actually farmed the trees and created these stands of trees that become quite a good weather break. Oh, Brian, any chance of getting this little red bird? Oh, no, never mind. Sorry. See in that little buffalo thorn. Quick link, confirm? Okay, I'm going to try and get close. Alright, I'm going to try and get closer to him, and quick link to Brent. Got to get to Brent very quickly.
Welcome back, guys. As you can see, we're with Kunyuma. Fortunately, it was quite a quick track. We found those tracks, we followed them very quickly, and we actually found him crossing the road before he went into this drainage line. It's getting quite difficult, the territory that he's walking through now, so we will try stay with him, but as you will see as he goes this way, it's going to get very, very thick in here. So we just decided to show him quickly in case he disappears into this thicket. I think I'm going to have a bit of fun trying to get through here. Okay. We're going to try and move around, guys, so we can try to find him on the other side. There's no ways we're going to be able to follow him through that thicket. So what we're going to do is try to move around. I'm just going to try and get through this drainage. I think he's going to pop out at that pan right in front of Gallagher.
We're going to go around there.
Cool.
Thanks, eh?
No problem. I'll see you there now. Okay, who's ready for a bit of technical driving?
straight into the storm. Well, almost. There it is, heading up Mvubu Road, just on Buffelshoek, north of us. There's a beautiful storm. We've had some amazing lightning flashes coming out of it. Rather unique circumstances around this time of the year, and all sorts of things culminating in some rather strange activity that's going to happen over the next few days. We've got new moon coming up. Oh, and there's weather that we haven't seen in how long? Funny that it's new moon. But there is also a lunar eclipse up in the northern hemisphere, mostly the Nordic countries. There's going to be a full lunar eclipse, solar eclipse tomorrow. What did I say? Moon. No. Solar eclipse. Full solar eclipse. Probably it's going to be around I think from about 10 o'clock in the morning to noon Greenwich Mean Time, which sort of puts us about 2 hours ahead of Greenwich. Our mid-morning, fortunately, well, we're so far south of the equator, it's not going to affect us at all. But I believe even London, those of you in the UK, you might even be able to see up to maybe 80% of the solar eclipse. The moon is also on its perigee, which is a very vital thing because it's at the closest point. It's the supermoon. We've been seeing a lot of things have been posted over the months about the supermoon, in fact the last couple of years, but the fact is the moon has 18-year cycles, so a supermoon at the time when it is closest to the earth doesn't last for just a month or a day. It lasts for quite some time as it comes closer to earth. It doesn't suddenly speed away. It takes a long time to get to its apogee, so it's vital that we acknowledge that for the last few months, in the next couple of months, we're going to have a moon that is probably about a few percent, it's just a lot bigger. It is noticeably bigger. Don't let digital photography fool you. Look at the moon yourself as it starts getting to the full moon over the next about 2 weeks. But there is also, we're at the equinox. We've got a solstice and an equinox. And Venus is in the same place. We've got Venus there too. So I think it's rather pertinent to note that there's this convergence and we're having weather. Although they might not be anywhere associated. But just to note that there is this convergence. Now, seems Brent and I had the same idea. That drainage line probably people at Gallagher. Peggy, don't I worry about lightning hitting the antenna. Peggy, I think the fact that we're on rubber tire. Now I'm open to correction here, and I would love a definitive answer on this, but my understanding is we're not grounded. We've got these huge rubber tires separating us from the ground, which means that we are in a fairly neutral state. And I think Nikola Tesla was one of the ones that demonstrated that, how he could sit in a cage of iron. Whatever it is, I think being in a vehicle, we're relatively safe. I don't know. Aircraft get struck by lightning, but the passengers don't get hurt. Same, the Tesla effect. What is it called?
Faraday cage.
The Faraday cage. Okay, copied. I'm going to go back sort of towards the lodge and have a look around there, because if he's going to follow that drainage line, he'll come out below onto the Garrigan. Oh, I've got news for you. The jackalberries have started, well, not started, but their fruits are now visible, which means that with the jackalberries, fruits getting ripe soon, a little bit earlier, I'd say, we're going to probably find a lot of activity in the jackalberry trees. Monkeys, birds, green pigeons, maybe parrots. Thunderstorm activity. It would be nice to have a heavy shower and settle these flies once and for all. They have been so bad. No, not bad, they've been prolific. And they only hang around the face. The storm is now flattening out quite a lot. It's almost joined the one that was in the east, and it's moving a little bit further south. We might even see it. We most likely are going to see lovely rainbows if we get the sun peering out in the west. If it opens up a little bit there. There are no storms in the west, but there's a lot of cloud. Sorry, Alex. Joyce. Hello, Joyce. Are there any monkeys when you need them? Because right now with the leopard walking around close to the lodge, probably going through our old camp or something like his older brothers used to do. I think it's Kunyuma, if I'm not mistaken, but he's somewhere in there. So we're going to go back to the buffalo, we're going to creep along the dam. I'm hoping that maybe he's going to come out onto the dam. And wouldn't it be phenomenal if QM was still around? Fresh elephant over here. Joy. Off the line. I hope nobody thought that I was saying the States would get this yet. Mostly in the Nordic countries, the Arctic Circle. There's only a small band in the Arctic Circle that the solar eclipse will be. Thanks for reminding me, Alex. London will get maybe 70 to 80% of an eclipse, but it's the last total solar eclipse, the only one for anywhere on the planet this year, I think. Sharon, thanks for a lot of the information you sent to me. I always appreciate it. And yeah, just remembering the names of all those Nordic islands and all those places that are going to see it in that little band where it is going to be visible. But anyway, it's up there, Arctic Circle, not the US. US maybe in Northern Hemisphere. No, you're in the wrong time zone. Northern Europe, and as you get further south, the less it's going to be visible, so in lower percentages, so that maybe it's only about 30-40% throughout, maybe to 50% in most of Europe. Anyways, the question was that buffalo that we saw, and I held it off until we got back to the buffalo. We're just going to see them for a little while. The tatty ears, they've all got tatty ears at this age. They've been through a lot of fighting, a lot of what he's going to do now, I hope. No, he's going to scratch in the tree. Thank you, Alex. The next solar eclipse around next year sometime, 2016. Flies, my face. I can handle any insect on my face. Any other insect, spider, you can put on my face, scorpion, it's fine. These little flies and mosquitoes are the two insects. Mosquitoes never land on my face. Just these little flies. We're going to try and look at almost every one of these old boys. But it's just kind of an age thing. They fight a lot. Those horns are so close to their ears, and very often stop shower. Lovely big old muddy bull. They are Cape buffalo. They are often mistakenly named water buffalo. It comes down to even what I try and explain about flowers. There are common names to things that I guess in the end of the day that it all becomes semantics. Turtles and terrapins and tortoises and bugs and beetles and mantises. Call it what you want. There is a nomenclature for every living organism on the planet. It's called a binomial nomenclature. It's a two-name system. It's almost like we have a name and a surname. Every animal, every plant, every living organism on the planet has a name and a surname. And I guess that's what really matters. But I suppose in common terms, water buffalo are mostly associated with the Asian buffalo in India going east into Asia, and this is more commonly known as the African buffalo or Cape buffalo. It was called the Cape buffalo. In fact, its scientific name refers to its first being discovered in the Cape and being called the Cape buffalo. And then I suppose explorers and people that went further into the zoological identification of things in Africa found that it occurred everywhere else in Africa except for the forest buffalo, and very much like the forest elephant as opposed to the African elephant, we're talking about a different animal, or an animal that is adapted to thick forested regions in Central West Africa, where they are much smaller individuals. Their horns are very, very different. In fact, their horns are more like the water buffalo of Asia than these savanna African buffalo. Of course, being next to buffalo, we got to ignore the flies now because there's so many. When the light is right and you get the right light, sunlight coming off of a buffalo, you see the clouds of flies that live with them, that they have to deal with every day of their lives. And it's not only one species of fly, there are many. There are some flies that don't even have wings. They're called bat flies. And they crawl around an animal's body amongst the hair like a bat, and they suck the blood. I'm so glad to hear from Destiny. Destiny's in Miss Jacobs' class in a school in Illinois, and nice to hear from you again, guys, because I know it's not just Destiny, there's a whole bunch of you out there. Get up the hill now that he's moved off a little bit. See these other buffalo wallowing in the water. You can see where that storm has got to. The clothes, do the clothes we wear help keep us cool? Is that the question, Destiny? No, actually, when it's hot, you don't want to. You want to be in a swimming costume, jumping in the water, or doing what the buffalo are doing. But there are some things that make safari wear now. They make clothes for the bush, and you'll find that places like Australia and here in South Africa, you'll find that there are companies that have developed clothing that help you to stay cool. And you can buy special clothing that allows your body to breathe while and keeps you shaded. And the very important thing about it also is that it keeps the UV levels down. It gives you UV protection as well. Ultraviolet, the stuff that burns you when the sun is shining, the sun that sunburn that you get that's not good for your skin anymore. Hello, Linda. Linda's in Dallas, from Illinois to Dallas. Illinois to Texas. Hi, Linda. Do we see a lot of eye injuries? No, we actually don't. And it's quite remarkable, really, because when buffalo are fighting, they can really get rough with each other. It can be quite a thing to see how close those horns come to the eyes sometimes. You can also see how the ears get so tatty when they are sparring, because the ears get caught between horns and things quite a lot. So, yes, there's certainly a lot of ear injuries, but for some reason they seem to, maybe because when anything happens close to their eye, they become so defensive that they don't let anything. To know, I've seen buffalo sparring, and I've seen times when I've thought that, boy, that horn is so close, can pop that eyeball out any minute. And ooh, what a strike of lightning. Something's chasing the fish. Anyway, very seldom do we see eye injuries in these old bulls. I think if you look at the boss of the horns, if you look at where it drapes over the side of the head like the judge's wig, it's close enough that they can use that for protection, I guess. He does have that one in the water. He does have very, very tacky ears from this angle. With that broken horn. A little bit of a broken horn on the left. Storm still raging to the north. Good afternoon, Colin. Moving from the US to the UK, and Colin is asking about the birds that we see on the buffalo. Perhaps we ought to get closer to them to see them better. That's a big boy, and he's got quite a rack of horns on him. Colin, the birds are called oxpeckers. And most of the herbivores, all the way down to warthog, even warthog, are used by oxpeckers. It's probably one of the most notable symbiotic relationships that we have between mammal and bird in this part of the world, or in most of Africa, in fact, is this relationship between mammals, only herbivores, because of course oxpeckers are not going to alight on a predator. It stands to reason why they won't do that, but oxpeckers have found this niche that they can climb all over animals and pick off flies and de-tick the animals to some extent. They can never get all of the ticks, they certainly try. In fact, this buffalo, I can even see a terrapin that's trying to find some things. Just off to the left of that buffalo, there's a little terrapin swimming around, and I've seen terrapins also picking off ticks. The thing is with terrapins is that they don't really have that much of a, I suppose it's a similar relationship. But the oxpeckers give them that relief. They keep them clean of parasites, and in return, of course, the oxpeckers get food, but they also get nesting material, because they often pluck hair from their hosts. Not that it has any adverse effect on their hosts, but it does become a symbiotic relationship. It does become a semi-parasitic relationship sometimes, because when there is an injury, they will keep a wound open. They will actually peck a wound open. They have been known to lap it, suppurating, or rather bleeding wounds, not necessarily suppurating, but they've been known to lap it blood on wounds, and also to try and keep it open. But by the same token, I suppose it's not really that good that they eat the maggots if there is such a wound, that they will keep the wound open to continue to supply. Oh, there's a bit of interaction going on. I can hear some rumbling of this big bull that just arrived. I think he came down to tell everybody to get out of the water because there's lightning. Or someone was in his place and he wants to come into the water. Here's the big boy we saw earlier. There's some bachelor impalas that have arrived as well. Who did that? Who was it? It was as well. I think Tara would be on bingo with an as well. So the buffalo benefit from the oxpeckers being on them, as do all the other animals. They can be a little bit of a nuisance, much the same way that the flies are really bugging me from time to time, although now we've got a bit of wind and they're not. But sometimes the flies are all over my face, and I feel for the buffalo, because for every fly that lands on my face, they've got 5,000 that lands on theirs. Plus they've got these oxpeckers that get into their nose and get into their ears and just can probably become quite pesky at times. So they have to tolerate them, because they know that they can be relieved of a lot of parasites, ticks and fleas and mites and bat flies and other blood-sucking flies. If they've got oxpeckers, but then they've just got to live with the oxpeckers that are living on them, sticking their beaks in their noses. There are 2 species of oxpecker, and up until recently we'd only mostly seen one type of oxpecker, the red-billed oxpecker. Most of the oxpeckers that we see here on these buffalo are red-billed oxpeckers. And lo and behold, just a few days ago, I noticed some yellow-billed oxpeckers on some kudu cows that were crossing Gowrie Main. Just heard a Franklin shouting. Brent, come in. Oh, the Impala have taken off. Are you still standing by there on that open area on Gallagher? Okay, copy. Let's move along. Oh, sorry, because I blocked your path, Mr. B. Karibu sana. Quite a few of them around and stuff. Okay, copy, thanks. Hello, man. storm seems to be receding to the northeast. That means it might get to Mansambula, might get up to Tundavasi. Probably getting up to Orphan Gate right now, top of the storm, the northern edge of the storm. Probably reaching around Orphan, Sandringham. I need a worry branch. Well, it's split again. There's half the storm north and half the storm east going southeast, so it's split up again. But I think once again it missed us. It was a perfect setup for a storm this morning. Clear skies, and then cloud building up, ants building mounds, termite building tunnels. Okay, you're stuck with me for a while. Brent and Andrew need to sort something out. Brian and I are gonna... I think what we'll do is we'll head a little bit east. We'll go up to Buffalo Dam or something. And then come back around to the south. I don't know, we'll see. I want to get to a junction and see where nature takes me. What do you say? Sounds good. Where's... I think we might find that after this bit of weathering gets through in the next few days, but I think it's going to be at least a day or two, I'm guessing, that we're going to have a little bit of weather. We'll find that things like started to follow the storms, and lo and behold, look what I have found. Like I was drawn to them like a magnet. Hello children. Hello Mama Ellie and your children. May we join you. May we come and say hello. There's another big mama coming, so let's stop here. Don't want them to move off of the road. Oh, okay. Now we get to see what elephants do when there's lightning and thunder. As you can see, they're doing what elephants do. It's sort of all up there. They know it's far away. They probably count 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3 for every lightning strike, and they count how far the thunder is. She's a big girl. Lady, sorry, lady. Oops. Sorry. Trying to be quiet. Oh, I think it's quite a big herd. I just heard more elephant trumpeting much further to the west. Okay, I'm gonna creep a little bit forward. I wonder if those are leaves on her back. I must have a look. Look at the white spots. I've seen white spots on elephants in East Africa because the egrets sit on their backs. But I haven't yet seen egrets on ellies here. That could just be leaves. Look at that little one. Such big tusks and it's so small. Already such tusks. Very interesting. The one doesn't want to get left behind. a small elephant, but it's not a young elephant. And one of the things that tells me so is not only the length of the tusk, because I've always said that length of tusk has nothing to do with the age of an elephant. It's the size of the elephant and so many other factors. But she's got such, well, very strange. There's also a very, very deep groove in that right tusk, and that doesn't happen until, well, it takes years to develop such a deep groove in the tusk. And, well, elephants, much like us humans, you get tall people and you get short people. You get basketball players and you get jockeys. And such is the way it is with elephants. So she could just be a really small ellie with really beautiful tusks, and it's that right tusk. I'd love to get a photo of that. Can't really tell from the ears. I was going to say that the ears might be tatty and they are folded over a little bit at the top, and that is also something that happens with age. And this elephant is about the size of an average 10-year-old, but she's showing signs of being much older. And the other interesting thing is that it doesn't seem to be that she's even lactated before. Maybe she's in, I don't know. Gosh, I'm speaking aloud. I'm speaking my mind, as I often do. She's a short ellie. Wow. Big lightning strikes. Crack of thunder's going to follow soon. Over this light drain. Seems to be another big female way up ahead on the road. Ray, hello Ray. Colorado. I want to hear from someone in Arizona. Does this ellie, does she seem to be a tusker? Or is it random, the gene, the tusks, does it run in the family? Well, gosh, there I've got to use the word. It depends. Depends on who the father is. If the father carries the gene and the mom carries the gene, then there's a double chance of there being a big tusker, whether it's male or female. And, well, I'm guessing that is mom further up ahead, and, well, I have to say that she's kind of lacking in that department. She's a big female. She's really a large elephant cow, but she's got remarkably small tusks compared to this little girl who seems to be an adult in a child's body. So it would appear that maybe her father had the gene, and so she was one of those that managed to be on that end of the scale, that she picked it up. Maybe there's a recessive gene in the female for big tusks, but of course she just didn't inherit the dominant gene part of it. And so with that recessive gene, 1 out of probably 4 of her offspring, if she mates with a big tusk male, or a male that has a dominant gene for large tusks, there's a likelihood that one of her offspring will have big tusks. She's not a youngster, that big girl. The storm was also abating. There's still a little bit of rain in the north. Most of the broad swath of rain, it looks like the clouds emptied out. No longer raining there. It's going to be this beautiful evening of, well, it's a beautiful evening. It's cool. It's a little bit moist, humid. They're heading up towards a dam known as Kunyuma Dam on Buffels Hook. And I'm just looking at fresh, very fresh elephant dung from a very young one. Could have been that youngster, but it looks like it might have been an even smaller ellie. Very distinct elephant pathways that they're following now, both probably elephant and hippo pathways. And then they join up with the roads. We just go forward, get onto the road. We're just sadly going to say goodbye to them once they get onto Buffels of Cut Line, and then my ellie time is over. And then I'm going to, well, at least I've had an ellie fix. Ambient law of crossing from Mvubu Road onto Kunyuma Dam. Andrew, come in. How are you, Flo? Very good, thanks. You say you got Ngala Tambodi Dam? Okay, copy. Lex, nice to hear from you again. Mark here, WildEarth. Very good, thanks. Sounds good. We're at research camp at Kunyuma. Wendy, hello Wendy. How many times does an elephant regenerate its teeth? 6 sets of teeth for elephant, Wendy, but it's their cheek teeth. A set of molars. Elephants have a rather unique dental structure in that they don't have separate teeth as most other mammals do. They have this huge set of molars because, well, they feed on such dense vegetation. They feed on such, they need, actually, not only feed on, but they're vital to their diet. Just by the way, there, I'm assuming that big girl over there that we're looking at now, although her back is to us. There we go, turning slightly. I'm guessing that she's the matriarch. And you can see she's quite an old girl. She's a lot bigger than the smaller Ellie that's to the left of your picture. You look at this difference in size of tusks. And she's probably mom or even grandma, maybe mom. And then another female as well, who's at the back, coming across the screen. She's also got fairly small tusks, even if she's also a mom. Or maybe these three girls are the same age, and they're sisters, and it was their mother that was the matriarch, and now they're... I would love to do genetic comparisons. Anyways, getting back to the dental side of things and teeth of elephants, their tusks are one set. Well, two. They have baby tusks when for their first year and a bit, maybe year and a half to two. Their tushes, very small tusks that are their baby teeth, and then they get their adult teeth, which is their adult incisors, like our two front teeth, and those incisors then grow for the rest of their lives. Luckily ours don't, but theirs do. And for their entire lives the tusks grow, and of course there's the growth of tusks, as I mentioned earlier, that's all got to do with genetics. Now the other side of them, the other side of their dental structure, are their cheek teeth, the teeth that they use to chew all this roughage. And being so abrasive, if they were to only have two sets of teeth, they probably wouldn't live through their teens. They probably wouldn't reach 20. Because they're born with the first set, the second set come out when they're already going into their second year. And then as they grow, the set of molars, the group of this mass of teeth that precedes the previous one, or succeeds, is it succeeds? Precedes? No, proceeds. The set of teeth that come afterwards are a much bigger set because the jaw is bigger, the animal is older, and as it grows and as it gets bigger, it needs a bigger set of teeth in its jaw because the previous set is now getting very worn down because of the roughage and the abrasiveness of cellulose, the plant cell, the plant mat, what keeps plants rigid and what makes plants cellulose. It's like sandpaper if you're chewing on it every day, and grasses in particular. So that by the time they're in full adulthood at 40 or 50 and they've got these really massive jaws, they need a set of teeth that can handle that size of jaw and the size of the foliage or the vegetation that they're eating. And so they go through 6 sets in a lifetime. But now nature's very clever because it wouldn't really do to have one set of teeth and then have those teeth fall out like we do and a new set or a new tooth coming in, because they don't have individual teeth, so that would mean that a whole molar set would have to come out or fall out or be discarded while there was time for a new set of teeth to replace it. So nature in its wisdom made tooth replacement for elephants on almost like a conveyor belt system, where the teeth are replaced, that the new teeth grow in the back of the jaw, and as the jaw grows the teeth move forward, and in so doing push forward the older set of teeth that is now getting worn down and cracked and incapable of sustaining the elephant. And so there is constantly a surface, whether it is a combined surface of 2 different sets or even sometimes 3 different sets, the last of the one set, a full set that's in play, and the beginning of a new set. There is always teeth in play being able to produce, or rather consume, to mulch, to masticate the kind of material that they need to survive. And having said that, we are now seeing the last little elephant rump disappear into the bushveld, and that's that young female. I'd love to see her again, but a rather intriguing question left behind after this herd of elephant, in that that was an adult ellie. She was half the size of usual adults, and I don't know how often we get to see such a size comparison between how adults can vary. I think I'm going to go a little bit further west since we've lost them. See if there were. I did hear more elephants shouting while we were watching this little herd. But at the time, there was that one female missing, so it could be her that was coming closer. So while I'm looking for something else, or some more ellies, let's go see what Brent. Let's go over to Brent, to a different part of Kunyuma, and let's see what there is over there.
Welcome back, guys. Andrew and I are still waiting to see if Kunyuma comes out of this really thick drainage line that we lost him in.
Still beautiful cloud formations, but I think everything has calmed down. It's almost like the sky has become flat. Earlier on, the sky was just a turmoil. There were bubbling clouds. Well, a lot of lightning and a lot of bark and no bite again. But it's kind of flattening out now. There's not really much that's going to happen. It's now very, very high in the sky, and rain doesn't fall out of a high sky. I'm not seeing any of the other ellies. I did hear other elephants this way, but I'm going to turn around now. We're going to go back. I want to get to the south again. Brent mentioned finding some lion tracks to the south earlier today. And, well, I know that he's busy in this area, and the idea is to try and cover different areas to see what else we can find in the world. Well, I've just been with a law that crossed over onto Buffalo's on Vubu Road, so I'm going to head down to Gary Cut Line Central and then head south to the dam. You're going to pick up on Gala then. Okay, copy. Lilac breasted roller against a very dark sky. Hello, roller. Anything to catch today? I think it's about to cough up a pellet. You know how owls have to cough up a pellet because they don't digest the fur and the bone of their prey, or the feathers if they're eating birds? Well, insect eaters also have to cough up pellets because they don't digest the exoskeleton, that hard outer shell of the insect. They can only digest all the juices inside, and since they can't digest it, it can't go through their digestive system, so it sort of becomes this little pellet that they regurgitate. I thought it was trying to do that. It looked like it. It was like doing like a cat does when the fur ball is about to come up. A lilac-breasted roller, and the rollers are so called because of their rolling flight displays that they have in the sky. They do all sorts of barrel rolls and double loops. Quite the aerobatics. Okay, well, let's go see Brent. I think Brent might have got signal back again and he might be in a better area. We're going to spend some time with Brent. I'm going to continue and hopefully find something else for us to watch this afternoon, and I'll see you a little bit later.
Welcome back, guys. Unfortunately, where we were standing by for Kunyuma, it was a really bad signal, so we kept losing you. So it seems to be a dead spot in that drainage line there. Unfortunately, we weren't able to find him again. He went into a really thick area that I couldn't follow him through. So we waited around there for about half an hour, 45 minutes. He didn't come out. So what we'll do is I'm going to go try see if we can find those male lion tracks we found this morning, and see if we can get any luck on those tracks, and see what else we'll bump into in between. And then maybe a little bit later we might move back into that area and check is where we lost him. You could actually see our roof when I was following him through the bush. But welcome back, and hopefully we can find something. And remember, if you have any questions, please email them at questions@wildearth.tv, or just use the hashtag #SafariLive on Twitter. Well, it was really nice to start with a bang with Kunyuma, who, I'm not going to lie anymore, I can't pretend I've got other favorites. Kunyuma is definitely my favorite. Just really like that attitude. I mean, they're amazing this morning when we found him. Just sitting 25 meters from us, and he just bounds right up to the vehicle and stops like a meter from my door, just because he can. That was Andrew or Angel. Good afternoon, Angela. Welcome on Drive. Angela just said she's astounded at how we are able to identify the individual leopards so easily. Well, with that one this afternoon, it was a bit easier because I had found him this morning, and I had a really good look at him this morning. And then I went back to where we'd left him, and we found his tracks again, and we followed his tracks, and we found him in the bush from following his tracks. But generally, the easiest way to identify is generally from the spot pattern on the top lip, but that can be very difficult. You actually need to get a very good, clear view of that. So basically, a lot of what we work on is the size of the leopard. So let's take Kunyuma versus Karula. Karula's a female. She's probably at the shoulder, maybe even 15 centimeters shorter than Kunyuma. She's actually a particularly small female. She's also quite a lot older. He's sort of not even in his prime yet. He's about 2.5 years old. So also the fact is that we know all the leopards in this area. So the leopards we're most likely to see are Karula, Kunyuma, Quarantine, and Mvula, with the odd chance of some other leopards on the edge that might come in. Now, out of those 4 that we see the most regularly, 3 are males and 1 is a female. And immediately you can distinguish Karula as being a female because she is that much smaller physically than the males. And then also she's got quite a pale face. I know a lot of the viewers that she's got a very distinct marking in her forehead that says "wow." I personally can't see it so easily. I work more with her ears and her top, the top line of spots above the whiskers. But everyone's got their own methods. But generally I would work on size, and she's got very distinct ears, and she's got quite a pale face for a leopard compared to some of the other leopards I've seen. That's how I would distinguish Karula. When it comes to the three males that we see regularly, Mvula is the big adult dominant male in this area. He's easy to tell apart from his the two younger males. He's just physically much bigger, and a big male leopard gets sort of jowled, so he's almost got a dewlap under his thing. So the other possible male leopard is Tingana, who might come across, but I haven't seen him yet, so I'm not so sure about his identifying features. But then now the most difficult is generally between the Kunyuma and Quarantine, because they are exactly the same age. So it is quite difficult to tell the difference. With those two, the personality in those leopards is very different. Quarantine is a very relaxed male. He doesn't react to the vehicles very much. He just sort of looks at you and carries on. Whereas Kunyuma, and the reason he's my favorite, I mean, you can be miles away from him and he'll just snarl at you, or he'll run up to the vehicle like a kitten playing. He looks physically a little bit smaller than Quarantine, but not much. They're the same age, they're from the same litter. Then whoa, nice kudu. One of for me, the distinguishing features between them, and that's just from a quick ID point of view, if you don't get a chance to look at the top spot patterns, is Karula's got a very distinct sort of 2 big spots above his right eye. Kunyuma, that's what I used to identify very quickly. But normally his personality will make him one of the easier leopards to identify in this area. I hope that gives you some idea. A nice kudu bull. Beautiful antelope. So kudus are actually non-territorial. Let me just try to sneak a bit forward. So they only fight only over females when there's a female in estrus. Other than that, you'll quite often find bachelor groups very happily grazing together, browsing together and spending time together. There's probably another kudu around that we just can't see, and their nickname is the Grey Ghost. For every one you see, there's 3 you don't. Oh, off he goes. I lost those lion tracks, or left those lion tracks, because we were following the leopard tracks this morning. Just down here, probably a couple of 100 meters from here on Twin Dams Road. I'm going to check this road. Unfortunately, the guys have been hard at work today, dragging roads with tires and stuff and fixing them. So there's been tractors and whatnot on here, so that can make the traffic. It does make the tracking quite a bit more difficult, but we're just going to go very slowly, and if I don't find any tracks, then what I'll do is I'll go back to the last track and take a walk, see if I can get a good general direction on them. Station, do you copy me better? So it could be anywhere around here, those 2 male lines. But as I said, yeah, it looks like the tractor's driven down here today, so I have to really get lucky to pick up a track. But I would have guessed we left their tracks directly opposite us here, and they were heading in this direction. Even though it is quite cool being lions, they generally are going to get moving a little bit later. It looks like that big storm's blown past us, so I don't think we're in danger of getting wet anymore. From just give me a few seconds. So difficult with that track there. Afternoon, Joyce. Welcome on Drive with us this afternoon. Joyce would like to know, aren't we worried when the animals leave our boundaries because they've lost their natural fear of humans? Well, Joyce, there's a boundary fence between us and the local community that is electrified, and these animals have not lost their natural fear of animals. They are just habituated to vehicles. They are not habituated to people on foot. They will still react to people on foot the same way as an animal that has never seen a person would do. There's tracks of another male leopard coming in. Let's just check on those line tracks again quickly and then I'll come back here. Tracks of a modern day Ingwe crossing crossing northwest into where Tel Aviv is junction with Kari Main. I'm just going to go follow up on those Madonna, Ngala and Bonzo from this morning, and then if I have no luck there, I'll head back towards those tracks. At Weaver's Nest, it's still a bit difficult because the tractors have been driving. There's also a Hlambi and Love in this position. Copy, Andrew. Did you get any updates on those Matimba, my daughters, this morning? Well, then we just bumped into a nice little breeding herd of ellies, and they seem very, very relaxed. Just going to sit here for a little bit. I might cross the road in front of us. Oh, look at him, he is very cute. You can hear quite a few of them around us. Let's move back a little bit, give her a space in case he wants to, unless she wants to come through here. Just move out of the way because there's a nice open patch if she wants to walk through rather than walking through the thickets. So where she goes now is up to her. Also quite useful being in this area while it's quite cool. We're in between the two roads where I think the lions are sleeping. So if anything happens to bump into them, we might hear alarm calls. So all's good in the world at the moment. Well, in our little world here in the bush. See, that's why I moved. She's immediately chosen the easier path to walk through than having to force her to walk through a thicket. Cleaning the dust off. She actually looks like she's picked up a little bit of sage accidentally. Okay, just keep still.
She's pregnant, right?
No, she's got a calf. That little one, I think, belongs to her. So she's lactating. But I don't think she's pregnant. No, I think she's... Yeah, you can see how swollen her teats are. But that little one that was fiddling around, I'm pretty sure he belongs to her. There he is, underneath her belly. And he's... I can't see him properly yet, but I don't think he's much... Yeah, he's probably he's still under a year old, so still very much lactating. I mean, feeding. He's quite strange if a little male started lactating. But there obviously are some other females in this group that we are just not seeing. We're just seeing one adult and a couple of younger ones, including the small baby. But I can hear a lot of elephants in the bush around us, so I'm quite sure there's quite a few more females. I mean, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 animals under 10 years old here, so there has to be a few more females around. Let me just turn around, looks like I'm going to cross the road behind us. It's okay, Mum. We're not going any closer, don't worry. He's very cute. We've got one probably 3 meters from the left corner of the landy of the vehicle, about to cross the road, young female by the looks of things. Oh, hello, cheeky. Trying to see what they're feeding, because they're not eating the grass. They seem to be eating one of the perennial herbs in between. It does look like they're eating one of the sage species, which is quite unusual. Well, she is. Or is she just accidentally picking up a sage while she's going for sedges and grass? Yeah, I think she's accidentally picking up the sage rather than purposely choosing it out. And you see all those veins in her ears there. Incredible. A big elephant can hold up to about 8 liters of blood in its ears. And what they do is they circulate the blood through their bodies. And what they do is that's to keep them cool. So because those veins are so close to the edge of the skin, and they flap and that cools the blood, and then the cool blood goes back into the circulatory system, and the warm blood, new warm blood will come through, and that's one of the ways elephants keep themselves cool. Okay, I think we're going to leave the eddies for now. They're moving off, and we don't want to unnecessarily stress them. You can see we leave them nice and relaxed, and also don't want to leave it too long before trying to walk on those lion tracks as it's getting dark, and you don't want to walk when it's dark because that's when the lions eat you. And I'm quite fond of being alive at the moment. I'm not quite ready to become a lion dung. Lions are the dominant nocturnal predator in Africa, and humans are the dominant diurnal predator in Africa. So during the day or when it's light, lions have a very healthy respect for people and will normally run away or growl when you're still quite far away to warn you that they're there. When it comes to nighttime, they will just eat you, unfortunately. That's why we want to go home when it gets dark. It's an old instinctive response to when we used to live out in the savannas, and when things got dark, people went missing. And it's quite interesting to me how that is changed to some degree, that with modern living and nightlife and parties and nightclubs, certain people are in cities and stuff are starting to change. But it's quite strange when you take someone who's never been out into the bush before, being in a city like New York or LA for their whole life. And I got a very good friend who came out from LA to visit me. Well, it's him, his brother, and his girlfriend, and we went camping. It's amazing how even then, all of a sudden, and he's a musician, so he's out late often. All of a sudden, when he's camping, he was like, "Oh no, he doesn't feel safe leaving the tent when it's dark and whatnot." And that's a little bit of instinct coming in, realizing that there are things out there that will make a meal of you. Okay, well, it looks like we might be in luck that the tractor didn't come here today. So those male lion tracks did some very funny stuff today. So we found them when we went to first start looking for those leopard tracks this morning, and they literally walked down our eastern boundary and out over our southern boundary. And then they literally came back, maybe 700 meters. They came back from the south and crossed north into our property again. And then no one seems to have found any tracks coming out. So that's why I think they're still in this area. So as I was saying, those Matimba boys walked about over 20 kilometers the other night. And it could be the fact that they're getting older. And there could be, I know there's the Birmingham Coalition up in the north, they're in the Manyeleti at the moment. But they could be, now as they're getting older, starting to really stress about their territory, which is causing them to cover much bigger distance and becoming quite a lot more vocal. They're relying on being loud to hopefully scare off the younger males, which will work for a while, but it won't work forever. Okay, there is a lion track. I'm just gonna, I think they went off on this path. I'm just gonna double check and have a quick look. Is that rain? Thought I felt a drop. It is rain.
The rain is coming.
Yeah, so they did go down that road, but there's been a big herd of elephants that's walked on top of them. So what we're going to do is we're going to do another little loop around an elephant skull, maybe check all the way up to Treehouse Dam. They might have headed that way for a drink. Let's go. Do you need the splash cover?
Not just yet.
Not just yet. Oh, that was close. Yeah, I've got a try. Looks like my big mouth might have been wrong. Ah, we don't have to worry about getting wet anymore. The one thing about this light we're getting, one of the ways that we use sorry guys, back again. As I was saying, what makes the welcome back. Sorry, we're not sure what's happening with the signal this evening so far. But as I was saying, and you can see I've put on my headlights, it's really difficult to track in this light because one of the main things is how I see the tracks quite often is if there's a little bit of light, it throws a slight shadow in the road, so you can just pick up the tracks. And like anything, the more you track, the better you can get at it. And I do love tracking so much. Even when I'm off, I stay with my parents. I go visit my parents on the reserve they live on, and I'm out with my dad 5 o'clock every morning, with tracking lion, tracking leopard. And as you can see, I'm really going at snail's pace at the moment with the headlights to just see if we can catch a track. I'm also constantly checking and listening. So the one thing about tracking is it's not only about being able to see and follow the tracks. You have to be able to use all your senses. So using your eyes, your ears, and even if you're tracking certain animals, your sense of smell. Like when I was in Central Africa, in Gabon, you track, it's almost impossible to see tracks, like footprints and that. You see them very, very seldom. But like things like gorillas, because they're really, really flatulent because of what they eat, you smell them more than you, bless you, Andrew, you smell them before you see them, and you actually almost track them by smell, hearing, and a little bit by feeding sign. And there also knowing the area you're working in, or knowing when certain trees are in fruit. So we will look for VTEX and we'll be on the edges of the swamps during this time of the year, because the gorillas really like that fruit, so they're more than likely going to be in an area that's got a heavy concentration of that tree. But then in a month and a half's time, they're going to be 15 kilometers away, where there's other food that's coming into season. So tracking is difficult, but there's lots of different types of tracking, and really, really great trackers can follow tracks, but they also can really think like an animal. And hopefully one day I'll be as good as some of my mentors. remember guys, any questions you have, send them through via email to questions at wildearth.tv. Nearly caught me. Or just use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. We're going to go stop here and look at the sunset for a second. I also just want to stay in this area because those lions were around here. There's water here, and I think they're in this general area, so I just want to listen. It is about the right time that they will get moving, or if they actually are feeling threatened by other male lions, they might start roaring. Very pretty sky. So this is where we actually found Kunyuma this morning. We followed his tracks up that road we came through, and we spotted him at the end of the dam. Very still. There's almost not a drop of wind, but there are a few raindrops around. Not too hard yet. If this cloud cover stays tonight, it's going to be a very humid night. Mark coming. I'm just checking what's Mark's position and where is he checking. Alright, copy. I've done Elephant Skull all the way to Treehouse. There's no sign, but the tractor has been dragging that road. I'm just standing by, listening for a couple of minutes at Treehouse Dam. Hey, firm. Good evening, Micha. Welcome. Micha would like to know how I'm so sure that those tracks are from a male. Micha, the male lion tracks are massive in comparison to a lioness's tracks. So I'm very sure that they are male lion tracks. I mean, they're much bigger, almost double the size of double the size of a lioness track. With leopard tracks it can be a bit more difficult, but again it's size. That's the biggest difference between male and female tracks. The power went off due to a lightning strike back at Final Controls. We've turned on the generator and we're back with you. So we've been sitting here, we haven't heard anything. So we're probably going to start moving again. Start checking the roads with the spotlights. It's quite possible they'll start moving soon. So hopefully we have a bit of luck with them. Other than that, you never know what we might find. So there were male leopard tracks that also came into this area of a different leopard from the one we just saw. Wow, that was a big bolt of lightning. But we're just going to continue on. Let me just readjust here quickly. Oh, I'm going to lose my ears. Okay, sorry, just readjusting my side lights. And I think my spotlight is behind me here somewhere, Andrew. I got it. Let's get off the damn wall before I start fiddling. Good evening, Kelly, from sunny Florida.
There we go,
we found it. Kelly would like to know. I saw it in the vehicle before we left. I'll show you. Anyway, we don't need it just yet. We've still got enough ambient light around. Wants to know how hard it is to find to find cheetah in Kruger. It depends on the area. There are areas that have higher densities of cheetah than others, and they're around. I mean, if you find tracks and in the right type of area, cheetah can actually be quite easy to find, especially if you find a female who's got youngsters. They can be quite resident in an area while they do have youngsters. Mark coming. Hey, Alex, could you ask Mark if he took the spotlights out of Wendy this morning? What is Mark's position? Okay, copy. I will meet him around on Elephant Skull, going back past Treehouse Dam. So guys, we're just going to do a quick turnaround. We're going to cross across to Mark quickly, see what he's been up to. And I will be back with you shortly.
Night has fallen pretty soon too because of the dark cloud in the sky. It got dark fairly early this evening. Welcome back to Jigger. Brent has been checking this road that we're on now. He's been checking here a lot today, and I tried to have a look on the other side of this drainage line, an area where the sticks used to be periodically. Didn't really sing. Kunyuma was doing some work on the roads today, so we don't have many tracks to follow. It's great that they've done this work on the roads. Well, let's see if we can find any of these nocturnal creatures that are creeping out of the woodwork. seen a few, there's another one. Seen a few nightjars. I can see a nightjar in the road now. That's gone. Coming up Elephant Skull, I can see a light. Just stay there. I'm coming up to you now.
Incomo. Thank you.
Hello.
Look who we found.
Yeah. I did a quick. There's an old track that comes up on the southern side of this drainage line.
Okay.
Quite a bit, but I often used to see the sticks there in the old days. But there's nothing. Alibi. So it seems that a few people have been looking around here.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna go.
I'll go down Weaver's Nest, check down towards Philemon. There was also a male leopard track that wasn't there this morning.
Yeah.
Big male leopard track that came onto it, but it is after, it was before the drag, or when the tractor's been, so it's near impossible to find tracks at the moment.
Okay, well it's good, the tractor's been cutting middle monkeys everywhere.
Yeah, so it's going to be nice and easy to track tomorrow. But just not,
going to be new. Everything's
exactly, just not today.
If we didn't have the rain, at least the tractors cleared the tracks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What I might do is I might head around Gallagher again and see if, and Vuatila Dam, see if Kunyuma pops up.
Maybe go across the dam wall and then
round shortcut,
down to Rumay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then no one's taken what's a treehouse yet. I was on it and then I turned around and came back.
Okay.
Treehouse up to Spam.
Spam Filaments or Spam Garimay?
No, I was at Treehouse Dam. That the road on the left of the dam, on the southern side of the dam.
Okay, I can do that and then come down.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we have Eric. Nice.
Okay.
Hawk moths.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh. Boom. Okay, well, good luck.
Back home in a little bit.
Yeah, and there's little drops and I'm keeping it a little bit nice and cool, but I don't think we're going to get any more.
It's too high.
Yeah. Good luck, guys.
Bye, Brent.
Bye, Mark. Bye, Brian.
See you next year.
Let's see what we're going to find in the darkness. maybe we can find something small and interesting again, like we did the other night when we had that genet. We'll find a civet, maybe some bush babies, an owl, who knows. Wait 1 second, Alex. Hi, firm, yeah, I heard that. I'm on my way. Sorry, Alex. Go again. Yeah. Sorry, guys. We're gonna rush. Kunyuma's popped out in front of Gallagher Camp. It's that my daughter Ingler we had earlier that we lost in the drainage. She's come out in front of Gallagher Camp. Yeah, the same Ingler. I'm going to try relocate. I'm close to Film One Step now. Sorry guys. 1 second. He's apparently drinking at the pan. The Mlungus who stayed in camp can see him. Okay, sorry guys, so Kunyuma has made an appearance where we were waiting for him. He just took a really long time to pop out. So copy. We'll see there. We're going to try get there before he disappears again, as we know how good Kunyuma is at doing that. I always time leopards. I always love spending time with leopards, and since I've been my jaws here with WildEarth, Kunyuma has definitely become one of my favorite to view, with his different personality. So if you guys are wondering why my lights keep going on and off in front, there's no fault. It's just every time I see a nightjar on the road, I turn off the lights so I don't blind him and he doesn't fly into the car. Alex, are there any questions while I'm moving towards that area? I think now's a good time to give them to me before I have to concentrate on trying to find them again. From Wisconsin. Anne would like to know whether a bongo antelope is related to the kudu, and where can you find bongo antelope? Well, they are of the same family, so they are very well related, but very loosely, as much to say as a bushbuck or an inyala is related to a kudu. They're all traphilagids, which means spiral-horned antelope. The bongo is the heaviest of all of them. A big bongo male can weigh up to about 400 kilograms, which is probably just under about 900 pounds, more or less. They are found in the Central and West African rainforests, with an isolated population in East Africa in the Aberdares mountain range in Kenya. They are probably, out of all the traphilagids, they are the most difficult to see because of where they live. Probably, as far as I understand, some of the best places to see them are on bays. Bays are open clearings in the rainforest where there's a natural water seep and high mineral content, and they're generally kept open by elephants. And what happens is that a lot of forest animals will move into that. Sorry, back again. So basically those areas are sort of hubs in the rainforest. Countries where you can see bongo, Democratic Republic of Congo, Central African Republic, Cameroon. There we go, Kunyuma. Sorry guys, about that rushing, we've just caught up with Kunyuma. He's just finished having a drink at that little pan we were waiting at earlier. And of course, being Kunyuma, he's going to try and go into the next thickest, nastiest place around. Be a nice dark night for him to hunt. It's just popped down into that drainage line. Where have you gone, Mr. Kunyuma? There he is. I feel I've got visual, but he's back in the drainage line, maybe 1 out of 5. We can just see him there. Maybe turn that light off now. It's got the bugs on us for a few minutes. So he's right in front of Gallagher Camp at the moment. So there he is. And there's the lodge light right there. So if you hear any voices, it's just the guests in camp.
Let me try the light from above here.
Let's see if Andrew's a bit higher than me, so sometimes he gets a better angle with the spotlight. Mark, come in. If you can kill your vehicle, there's line audio. Copy, no problem. Go ahead. It sounded down towards between Gowrie Main, Treehouse, that area. I had the tracks of 2 males. I just got an audio. I'm at Gallagher with that Murder Ingrid at the moment, but the audio sounds from that general direction where we last had tracks this morning. Don't drive radio, because it was for everyone. Are they coming closer?
We're experiencing what they said was going to happen about solar flares and things. We're both experiencing some signal issues. Evidently there were lion calling close by. We are on Philemon's cut line. We're near Treehouse Dam. We're sitting in the dark and hoping that we can hear some lion calling. Brent's trying to keep track of the leopard at Gallagher Camp. think you could just clear them now. Brent, come in. On the road.
Welcome back. Just stand by, just go ahead. Yeah, he's at Gallagher, but there's someone like walking up to the fence and, sorry, go one. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that on Game Drive channel. But someone's walking up to the fence shining torches on him with kids, and he's less interested now, but he was back seriously interested. One of the kids started crying.
Can you shine it?
It looks like he's moving away from them now, down the drainage line. Okay, so guys, looks like he's moving again. We'll try to stick with him. Hopefully he should pop up in front of us at some point. It's just a really difficult area to work in. So the last place I saw him was just here, and he was moving this way. We're right on the edge of a sort of cliff here, so we can't really go any more forward. Him there. Oh guys, he's very close to us. I think he's below us, and we just can't see him because of this cliff face here, and there's quite a lot of thick bush on it. It's a great place for him to hunt this evening. A lot of bushbuck and inyala in this area. Not a great place for us to follow him though. Make sure he hasn't pulled a sneaky and gone past us already. Don't think so.
I want to know, not related to leopards, but
yeah.
Is there a specific type of termites that the aardvark feeds on?
Eats on most types of termites. Not like a pangolin that's so specialized. I'm just going to move a little bit so we can get a view. see anything?
Negative.
Try from a bit higher there. Well, hopefully he's moved off. Okay guys, we can't find him anymore, so we're going to just move out of the area and sign off. I think because we're sitting on quite a precarious edge here. We don't want Andrew to fall over. Doesn't have the best balance, old Andrew. Just check one more check from this side. Where's that stump I hit earlier? You see behind us? Alright. We good?
Okay.
Just check from up here quickly. Anything? Doesn't look like it. Nope. Okay. We did try, and we did get a nice little view of him there for a while. Well guys, thanks very much for joining us on Drive again this evening. It's been a great evening. Nice to catch up with Kunyuma, even if it was just for a short time at the beginning and at the end. But I definitely think I'm going to go look for him tomorrow morning and see if he manages to catch something on this really dark night. He's very close to camp, so I'm thinking he'll probably head further down this drainage line and maybe even pop up at the dam sometime during the night or tomorrow morning. So we will look for tracks there. Also, while we were having some technical difficulties with signal and stuff, could hear a couple of male lions roaring, so it's always an idea to look for them tomorrow. Hopefully they haven't moved too far. I'm pretty sure it's those same two that we were trying to find earlier this afternoon. And then also we had nice ellies and just a really nice afternoon. Great lightning, the storm that didn't come, so it seems that all the storms just move around us here. And yeah guys, Alex just says thanks very, very much for sending in so many questions. It's just we had quite a few sorry, bugs attacking. We're just trying to, we had quite a few glitches today, so it was quite difficult for him to get as many questions as we would like through. He just asked me to mention that we really do appreciate that. He just apologized he couldn't get through to them today. And that wherever you guys evening, and hopefully you'll join us on Drive bright and early in the morning. Also from Mark and Brian, they also send their best wishes and good night, and from myself and Andrew and Alex and FC, have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you in the morning. Good night.